Welcome to Chinese History and Mythology.
Hey friends, welcome back to Chinese History and Mythology. Last time we talked about how Liu Bei suffered a crushing defeat in the Battle of Xiaoting and Yiling. Lu Xun used a fire attack to burn through the linked camps of the Shu army, and the great army of Shu Han almost collapsed completely. Liu Bei had wanted to avenge Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, but in the end, not only did he fail to destroy Eastern Wu, he also badly damaged Shu Han's strength. In the end, he could only retreat to Beidi City and change the post house into Yong'an Palace. After the terrible defeat, more bad news came one after another. Feng Shi, Zhang Nan, Fu Tong, Cheng Ji, Shamok, and others died in battle. Quan was also forced to surrender to Cao Wei because the Wu army had cut off his retreat. Although Liu Bei was deeply heartbroken, he did not blame Quan. Instead, he said, "It was I who failed Quan, not Quan who failed me." From this, we can also see that although Liu Bei was filled with regret at this time, he still understood in his heart that it was his own wrong decision that had caused this great defeat. On the other side, Cao Pi took the chance to attack Eastern Wu, hoping to profit from the conflict. But Eastern Wu had just won a great victory at Yiling. Their morale was high, and they had already made preparations. The three Wei armies led by Cao Ren, Cao Zhen, and Cao Xiu were all defeated, and Cao Pi had no choice but to retreat to Luoyang. From then on, Wu and Wei also became completely hostile toward each other. Meanwhile, Liu Bei's illness grew worse and worse in Yong'an Palace. Before his death, he dreamed that Guan Yu and Zhang Fei came to see him, and he knew that his time was near. So he urgently summoned Zhu Jiliang, Li Yan, and the others to Beidi City to arrange his final affairs. When Liu Bei entrusted his son, he both regretted not listening to Zhu Jiliang's advice, and specially reminded Zhu Jiliang that Ma Su was someone whose words exceeded his real ability and must not be given great responsibility. After that, he entrusted the young Lu Xun to Zhu Jiliang and spoke those heaviest words. If Lu Xun was worth assisting, then assist him. If he truly was not capable, Zhu Jiliang could take his place himself. After hearing this, Zhu Jiliang kowtowed until blood flowed from his forehead and swore that he would loyally assist Lu Xun, giving all his heart and strength, working to the very end, and only stopping when death came. After Liu Bei finished arranging his final affairs, he finally passed away in Yong'an Palace. Lu Xun inherited the throne, and Zhu Jiliang began to take full charge of Shu Han's military and political affairs. But as soon as Liu Bei died, Cao Pi saw his chance. He wanted to take advantage of Shu Han's new ruler and attack western Sichuan in one great move. Sima Yi offered a plan. Wei would join forces with the Xianbei, the southern barbarians, Eastern Wu, and Meng Da, together with Cao Zhen's own troops, and send 5 armies to attack Shu Han at the same time. When the news reached Chengdu, the whole court fell into panic. Lu Xun hurried to ask Zhu Jiliang for help, but Zhu Jiliang kept his doors closed for several days and did not come out. He even made the officials think he was ill. Only when Lu Xun personally came to the chancellor's residence did he learn that Zhu Jiliang had already secretly arranged the plans to drive back the enemy. Ma Chao would guard Xping Pass, Wei Yan would hold back the southern barbarians, Li Yan's letter would delay Meng Da, Zhao Yun would defend Yangping Pass, and Guan Xing and Zhang Bao would secretly move between key positions to provide support. 4 routes of danger had already been solved. Only the final route remained, Sun Quan of Eastern Wu. Zhu Jiliang understood very clearly that Shu Han had just suffered a major defeat and could not be enemies with both Wei and Wu at the same time. If Shu Han wanted to survive, it had to first restore relations with Eastern Wu. So he chose Deng Ji and prepared to send him as envoy to Eastern Wu to persuade Sun Quan to rebuild the alliance. So, can Deng Ji persuade Sun Quan? After the death of Guan Yu and the Battle of Yiling, will Eastern Wu still be willing to form an alliance with Shu Han again? And will Zhu Jiliang's plans to deal with the 5 enemy routes truly work? Let's continue the story. After Lu Xun of Eastern Wu defeated the Shu army at Xiaoting and Yiling, and then successfully forced back the Wei troops, Sun Quan trusted him even more. He appointed Lu Xun as general who supports the state, granted him the title Marquis of Jiangling, and also made him governor of Jingzhou. From then on, almost all real military power in Eastern Wu fell into Lu Xun's hands. Later, Zhang Zhao and Gu Yong advised Sun Quan, saying, "Wu now has broad lands, a large population, strong soldiers, and powerful horses. It would be better to establish your own era name, to show your position to the world." Sun Quan thought this was reasonable, so he officially changed the era name to the first year of Huang Wu. Before long, the Wei ruler Cao Pi sent an envoy to Eastern Wu. The envoy said to Sun Quan, "Earlier Shu asked Wei for help. The Wei ruler was confused for a moment and sent troops to assist them. Now the Wei ruler has already regretted it and is preparing to mobilize 4 armies to attack Shu territory. He hopes Eastern Wu can also send troops in response. If Shu is conquered, Wei and Wu can divide it equally." After hearing this, Sun Quan could not make up his mind, so he summoned Zhang Zhao and Gu Yong to discuss it. Zhang Zhao said, Lu Boyan has far-reaching judgment. You can ask for his opinion. Sun Quan immediately summoned Lu Xun into the palace. After Lu Xun entered, he said, Now Cao Pi holds the Central Plains and his foundation is firm. We cannot rashly turn against Wei. But if we reject him outright, Cao Pi will also hold a grudge. In my view, even if Wei and Eastern Wu are combined, there may still be no one who can defeat Zhu Zhiliang. We might as well agree for now. While preparing troops and horses, we can also observe the movements of Wei's 4 armies. If all 4 routes win, and Shu falls into danger, leaving Zhu Zhiliang unable to handle both sides, then my lord can send troops to support Wei and take Chengdu in the chaos. That would be the best plan. But if the 4 routes are defeated, then it will still not be too late for us to hold our troops and do nothing. Sun Quan felt this made sense, so he told the Wei envoy, The troops and horses are still being prepared. We can set out on a chosen day. The envoy bowed farewell and left. Later, Sun Quan sent men to gather news about the 4 armies. As it turned out, the western barbarian troops had just reached Siping Pass when they saw Ma Chao and retreated without fighting. Meng Huo of the southern tribes attacked the 4 commanderies of Yizhou, but Wei Yan frightened him back to his own territory with a decoy strategy. Meng Da of Shangyong had barely sent out his troops when he fell ill on the road and could not advance. Cao Jin led the main force to attack Yangping Pass, but Zhao Yun held him outside the pass. After attacking for a long time without success, he could only withdraw. When Sun Quan heard this, he sighed and said, Lu Boyan truly has divine strategy. If I had acted rashly at that time, would I not have created another deep hatred with Western Shu? Just then, someone came to report. The envoy Deng Ji from Western Shu has arrived. Zhang Zhao sneered and said, This must be a persuasive envoy sent by Zhu Zhiliang. Sun Quan asked, Then how should we receive him? Zhang Zhao offered a plan and said, Set up a great oil cauldron in front of the hall. Fill it with hot oil and burn charcoal underneath. Then choose 1,000 tall and powerful warriors, each holding weapons, and line them up from the palace gate all the way to the front of the hall. When Deng Ji comes in, first scold him by using the old story of Li Yiji persuading the state of Qi, then threaten to boil him alive. Let us see how he responds. Sun Quan followed the plan. He ordered the oil cauldron set up and had warriors holding blades stand on both sides. Then he summoned Deng Ji into the hall. Deng Ji straightened his robes and hat and strode through the palace gate. He saw warriors on both sides holding steel blades, great axes, long halberds, and short swords, standing in full force all the way to the main hall. When he reached the front of the hall, he saw hot oil rolling inside the cauldron, with warriors beside it glaring at him from the corners of their eyes. But Deng Ji remained calm and only gave a faint smile. The close attendants led Deng Ji before the curtain. Deng Ji only cupped his hands and bowed slightly, but did not kneel. Sun Quan ordered the pearl curtain rolled up and shouted sternly, Why do you not bow? Deng Ji raised his head and replied, I am the envoy sent by the emperor of a superior state. I do not bow to the ruler of a small state. Sun Quan was furious. You dare imitate Li Yiji's words and try to persuade me with that clever tongue of yours? Men, throw him into the oil cauldron. Deng Ji laughed loudly and said, Everyone says Eastern Wu is full of talented men. I never expected that you would fear one single scholar like me. Sun Quan became even angrier. How would I fear you? Deng Ji said, If you do not fear me, Deng Bo Miao, then why set out weapons and an oil cauldron to deal with one lone envoy? I came this time for the safety and interests of Wu. I never expected Eastern Wu to have such a narrow spirit and refuse an envoy in this way. When Sun Quan heard this, his heart was shaken. He ordered the warriors to withdraw, invited Deng Ji up into the hall, gave him a seat, and asked, Between Wu and Wei, where exactly do the advantages and dangers lie? I ask for your instruction. Deng Ji said, Does your majesty wish to form an alliance with Shu, or join with Wei? Sun Quan said, In truth, I also wish to restore friendship with the ruler of Shu. I only fear that he is young and shallow in judgment, and may not see things through to the end. Deng Ji said seriously, Your majesty is a hero of this age, and Zhu Zhiliang is also a great talent under heaven. Shu has the protection of mountains and rivers, while Wu has the natural defenses of the 3 rivers. If Wu and Shu form an alliance, they will depend on each other like lips and teeth. Advancing, they can plan for the world together. Retreating, they can keep the 3-part balance of power. But if your majesty submits to Wei, Wei will surely force you to go to court as a subject, and demand that you send your crown prince as a hostage. If you refuse, Wei will certainly attack Wu. At that time, the Shu army will also come down along the river, and Jiangnan may no longer belong to your majesty. If your majesty thinks I am wrong, I am willing to die here today, and use my life to end my name as a persuader. After saying this, Deng Zhi lifted his robes and made as if to jump into the oil cauldron. Quan was shocked and quickly ordered people to stop him. Then he invited him into the rear hall and treated him with the courtesy due to an honored guest. Quan said, "Sir, your words match my own thoughts exactly. I truly wish to restore friendship with the ruler of Shu. Would you be willing to carry my message for me?" Deng Ji sneered and said, "Just now, the one who wanted to boil me was your majesty. Now the one who wants me to carry a message is also your majesty. If your majesty cannot even make up your own mind, how can others dare believe you?" Quan quickly said, "My decision is made. Sir, you need not doubt me." After that, Quan summoned the officials and said, "I control 81 provinces in Jiangnan, and I also hold large territories in Jing and Chu. Why should I be inferior to someone shut away in western Shu? Shu has Deng Ji, who came as envoy to Eastern Wu and did not disgrace his mission. Does Eastern Wu not have even one man who can go as envoy to Shu and convey my intentions?" Before he had finished speaking, one man stepped forward and said, "I am willing to go as envoy to Shu." Everyone looked and saw that it was the palace gentleman general Zhang Wen. Quan said with concern, "I only fear that when you meet Zhuge Liang, you may not be able to express my meaning clearly." Zhang Wen replied, "Kong Ming is also a man." "What do I have to fear? I will certainly not disgrace the mission." Quan was delighted, rewarded him richly, and ordered Zhang Wen to go with Deng Ji to Shu to restore good relations. Meanwhile, in Shu, ever since Zhuge Liang had sent Deng Ji to Wu, he had submitted to the later ruler Lu Xun. "I believe Deng Ji's mission will surely succeed. Eastern Wu has many worthy talents, and they will certainly send someone in return. At that time, your majesty should treat him with proper courtesy and let him return to Eastern Wu with our sincerity. If Wu is willing to make friendship with us, Wei will not dare attack Shu lightly. Once the Wu-Wei border is temporarily stable, I can safely lead a southern campaign against the barbarians, pacify the frontier, and then plan the northern campaign against Cao Wei." The later ruler thought this was reasonable and nodded in agreement. Before long, someone came to report, "Eastern Wu has sent Zhang Wen together with Deng Ji to Shu in return." The later ruler summoned the officials and received them above the Red Palace steps, then allowed Deng Ji and Zhang Wen to enter the hall. Zhang Wen felt that he had an impressive bearing, and his expression was rather pleased with himself. The later ruler gave him a seat and held a banquet. The courtesy was complete, but not overly warm. After the banquet ended, the officials escorted Zhang Wen to the guest house to rest. The next day, Zhuge Liang personally held a banquet to host Zhang Wen. During the banquet, Zhuge Liang said, "When the late emperor was alive, there were many conflicts with Wu. Now the late emperor has passed away, and his majesty is young but sincere. He greatly admires the king of Wu and is willing to set aside old resentment, form a lasting alliance, and resist Wei together. I hope you, sir, will convey this to the king of Wu." Zhang Wen gladly agreed. When the wine had gone around and they were half drunk, Zhang Wen's manner gradually became arrogant. Another day passed. The later ruler rewarded Zhang Wen with gold, silver, and silk, and held a farewell banquet at the post pavilion south of the city. He ordered all civil and military officials to see him off together. During the banquet, a man suddenly entered while enjoying the wine, holding his head high and chest out. After making a deep bow, he sat down on his own. Zhang Wen was displeased and asked Zhuge Liang, "Who is this man?" Zhuge Liang smiled and said, "This man's surname is Qin, his given name is Mi, and his courtesy name is Ziqi. He is a scholar of Yuzhou." Zhang Wen smiled with contempt and said, "He is called a scholar, but I wonder whether there is any real learning in his belly." Qin Mi replied seriously, "Even 3-foot children in Shu go to school and study, much less I, Qin Mi." Zhang Wen asked again, "Then what have you studied?" Qin Mi replied, "Above, I understand astronomy. Below, I understand geography. The 3 teachings, the 9 schools, the 100 philosophers, the rise and fall of ancient and modern times, and the classics of sages and worthies. There is nothing I do not understand." Zhang Wen then used heaven to test him and asked, "Does heaven have a head?" Qin Mi replied, "It has a head." Zhang Wen asked, "Where is the head?" Qin Mi replied, "In the west. The Book of Songs says that heaven turns its gaze westward, so heaven's head is in the west." Zhang Wen asked again, "Does heaven have ears?" Qin Mi replied, "It has ears. The Book of Songs says that when cranes cry in the deep marsh, their voices are heard in heaven. If heaven had no ears, how could it hear?" Zhang Wen asked again, "Does heaven have feet?" Qin Mi replied, "It has feet. The Book of Songs says heaven's steps are difficult. Without feet, how could it walk?" Zhang Wen asked again, "Does heaven have a surname?" Qin Mi replied, "It does. Its surname is Liu." Zhang Wen asked in surprise, "How do you know?" Qin Mi said calmly, The son of heaven is surnamed Liu, that is how I know. Zhang Wen continued to ask, does the sun rise from the east? Qi Mi replied, though it is born in the east, in the end it sets in the west. Qi Mi answered every question smoothly, and everyone at the banquet was amazed. After that, Qi Mi asked Zhang Wen in return, in ancient times when heaven and earth first opened, the light and clear matter rose upward to become heaven, while the heavy and muddy matter sank downward to become earth. Later, Gong Gong struck and broke Mount Buzhou, causing the pillar of heaven to snap and the cords of earth to collapse. That is why heaven tilts toward the northwest and earth sinks toward the southeast. Since heaven is made of light and clear matter, it should naturally be level and stable. Why then does it tilt toward the northwest? Or is there something else inside heaven? I ask you, sir, to explain. Zhang Wen listened until he was tongue-tied and had no answer. He could only rise, bow, and say, I never expected Shu to have so many outstanding talents. After listening to your words today, I truly feel as if a blockage in my mind has been opened. Seeing his embarrassment, Zhu Zhiliang spoke to ease the situation. Questions and answers at a banquet are only casual conversation after a meal. You, sir, are widely learned and talented, and you deeply understand the way to govern and protect a state. Why take these verbal exchanges to heart? Zhang Wen thanked him again and again. After that, Zhu Zhiliang arranged for Deng Zhi to return to Wu together with Zhang Wen as a reply visit. The two took leave of Zhu Zhiliang and set out eastward. On eastern Wu side, Quan was worrying that Zhang Wen had been gone for a long time and had not returned. Suddenly, someone came to report, Deng Zhi of Shu has entered Wu together with Zhang Wen to return the courtesy. Quan was delighted and immediately summoned them. After Zhang Wen entered the hall, he explained one by one the courtesy and sincerity shown by the later ruler of Shu and Zhu Zhiliang. He also said that Shu was willing to form a lasting alliance with Eastern Wu, and that was why Deng Zhi had come again to return the courtesy. After hearing this, Quan was very pleased and held a banquet to receive them. During the banquet, Quan asked Deng Zhi, if Wu and Shu join hands to destroy Wei and the world becomes peaceful, then the two rulers divide it and govern separately. Would that not make everyone happy? Deng Zhi said seriously, there cannot be two suns in the sky, and the people cannot have two rulers. If Wei can be destroyed, then we must still see where heaven's mandate belongs. A ruler should cultivate virtue and govern well, and ministers should serve the state with loyalty. Only in this way can war truly be ended. After hearing this, Quan laughed and said, Sir, you truly are a loyal man. I admire you. So he gave Deng Zhi generous gifts and allowed him to return to Shu. From then on, Wu and Shu formally made peace and renewed their alliance. The news was soon discovered by Wei spies and reported to the Central Plains. When Cao Pi 听到 Wu and Shu you formed an alliance, he was furious and said, Wu and Shu have joined together. They must be planning something against the Central Plains. It would be better to strike first. I will take the initiative and send troops. So he summoned the officials to discuss attacking Eastern Wu. At this time, Cao Ren and Jiasu had already passed away. The palace attendant Xin Pi advised, the Central Plains are vast, but the population is thin. If we rush into war, the harm will be great and the benefit small. It would be better to preserve our strength, farm and store grain for 10 years, and wait until the army is strong and the supplies are full before going to war. After hearing this, Cao Pi was furious. These are the words of a rotten scholar. Now Wu and Shu have already joined together. Sooner or later, they will attack Wei. How can there still be 10 years to wait? So Cao Pi decided to attack Wu at once. Sima Yi submitted. Eastern Wu has the natural defense of the Yangtze River. Without building ships, it will be difficult to cross the river. If your majesty personally leads the campaign, you should first prepare large and small warships, enter the Huai River from the Kai and Ying region, first take Shuchun, then attack Guangling, cross the river from the river mouth, and go straight for Nansu. Cao Pi was delighted and prepared according to this plan. So Wei worked day and night to build 10 dragon boats. Each boat was over 20 zhang long and could carry more than 2,000 people. They also gathered more than 3,000 warships. By the 8th month of autumn, in the 5th year of Huangchu, 300,000 land and water troops had assembled. Cao Pi ordered Cao Zhen to command the front army, with Zhang Liao, Zhang He, Wen Ping, Su Huang, and others as the main generals going ahead. Su Chu and Liu Qian guarded the central army, Cao Xiu guarded the rear, and Liu Ye and Zhang Ji served as advisors. He also appointed Sima Yi as director of the secretariat and left him to guard Zuchang, with all major state affairs placed under his control. When Eastern Wu's scouts learned that the Wei army was coming, they immediately reported back to Sun Quan. Sun Quan was shocked and summoned the civil and military officials to discuss the matter. Gu Yong suggested, "Now that my lord has restored relations with Shu, you can write to Zhu Zhiliang and ask him to send troops from Hanzhong to hold back the Wei army. At the same time, send a great general to defend Nanchu," Sun Quan said. "Only Lu Boyan can handle this matter." Gu Yong said, "General Lu is guarding Jingzhou and should not be moved lightly." Sun Quan sighed and said, "I also know that, but right now no one can replace him." Before he had finished speaking, Su Sheng stepped forward and said, "Though I am not talented, I am willing to command troops and face the enemy. If Cao Pi dares personally cross the river, I will capture him alive and present him to your highness. If he does not dare cross, I can still cut down more than half his troops and make the Wei army afraid to look down on eastern Wu." Sun Quan was delighted and appointed Su Sheng as general who pacifies the east, placing him in overall command of the troops of Jianye and Nanchu. After receiving the order, Su Sheng immediately strengthened the defenses along the riverbank, prepared many weapons and banners, and waited in strict formation. But Sun Quan's nephew Sun Shao suggested, "Since General has received this important duty, you should take the initiative to cross the river and meet the enemy around Huainan. If we wait until Cao Pi's great army arrives right before us, it will be too late," Su Sheng said. "Cao Pi's army is extremely strong, and his vanguard also includes many famous generals. At present, we cannot rashly cross the river. Once the Wei ships gather on the northern bank, I will have my own plan to defeat them." Sun Shao was not convinced. He repeatedly asked for permission, willing to lead 3,000 elite troops across the river and fight Cao Pi. Su Sheng refused again and again. Sun Shao still insisted on going. Su Sheng was furious. "If you do not obey military orders, how can I, as commander, control the generals?" So he ordered men to take Sun Shao out and execute him. Sun Shao's subordinates were shocked and quickly rode to report this to Sun Quan. Sun Quan immediately put on his armor, mounted his horse, and personally came to save him. Just as the executioners were about to carry out the sentence, Sun Quan arrived, shouted the warriors back, and saved Sun Shao. Su Sheng welcomed Sun Quan into the tent and said, "Your Majesty appointed me as commander. Now Sun Shao has disobeyed orders and should be punished according to military law. Why has your Majesty pardoned him?" Sun Quan said, "He is young and hot-blooded, and he violated military discipline by mistake. I hope General will forgive him." Su Sheng said, "Military discipline is the law of the state. If he is spared because he is a royal relative, how can the others be convinced?" Sun Quan had no choice but to explain, "Although Sun Shao's original surname was Yu, my elder brother loved him and granted him the surname Sun. He has also earned merit for Eastern Wu. If he is killed today, I will have failed my elder brother's affection." Only then did Su Sheng spare Sun Shao from death for the moment. Sun Quan ordered Sun Shao to bow and thank Su Sheng, but Sun Shao refused to bow. Instead, he said, "In my view, we should simply lead troops and attack Cao Pi. Even if I die in battle, I still will not accept your way of thinking." Sun Quan angrily scolded Sun Shao and ordered him to withdraw. Then he said to Su Sheng, "There is no need to use him again." That night, someone came to report to Su Sheng, "Sun Shao has already led 3,000 elite troops of his own and secretly crossed the river." Su Sheng was worried that Sun Shao would act on his own and make a mistake, so he summoned Ding Feng, secretly gave him instructions, and ordered him to also lead 3,000 soldiers across the river quietly to support Sun Shao. Meanwhile, Cao Pi rode a dragon boat to Guangling, while the front army under Cao Zhen had already formed ranks by the great riverbank. Cao Pi asked, "How many troops are on the other side of the river?" Cao Zhen said, "Looking from far away, there is not a single person in sight. There are no camps or banners either." Cao Pi grew suspicious. "There must be trickery here. I will personally go and see whether it is real or empty." So Cao Pi sent out the dragon boat and headed straight for the great river, anchoring by the riverbank. The boat was covered with dragon and phoenix banners, sun and moon banners, and 5-colored flags. Ceremonial canopies and carriages gathered around it, shining with golden light. Cao Pi sat on the great boat and looked across toward Jiangnan, but he could not see a single person. He asked Lu Ye and Jiang Ji, "Can we cross the river now?" Lu Ye replied, "The art of war values emptiness and reality. Eastern Wu sees a great army pressing down on them. How could they have no defenses at all? Right now, there is no movement, but I fear there is reality hidden within emptiness. Your Majesty must not cross the river rashly. It would be better to wait 3 or 5 days, then send the vanguard to test them." Cao Pi thought this made sense and stayed on the river that night. That night, the Wei army lit lamps and torches, making the river surface as bright as daytime. But on the Jiangnan side, there was not a single light. Someone said, "Perhaps they heard that your Majesty's heavenly army had arrived. and Eastern Wu was so frightened that they fled at the sound of our approach. After hearing this, Cao Pi became even more proud. At dawn, thick fog covered the river. Before long, the wind rose and the fog scattered. The clouds opened and the sky brightened. Only then did Cao Pi clearly see that along the southern bank of the river, there were actually cities and tall towers everywhere. On the city walls, blades and spears stood like a forest, cold light flashing everywhere, and banners filled the area. Then reports kept coming in. From Nanshu along the river all the way to Stone City, for several hundred li, city walls, ships, and vehicles are connected into one long line, as if they were all built overnight. Cao Pi was greatly shocked. In fact, Su Sheng had long ago used reeds to tie together many human-shaped figures, dressed them in blue clothes, placed banners in their hands, and set them on fake walls and decoy towers. From far away, the Wei army only felt that Jiangnan had countless defenders, and naturally fear rose in their hearts. Cao Pi sighed and said, "Though Wei has thousands upon thousands of troops, they cannot be used here. Jiangnan has so many talented men, it is truly hard to conquer." Just as he was shocked and uncertain, a violent wind suddenly rose. White waves surged up to the sky, and the river water soaked Cao Pi's dragon robe. The dragon boat nearly overturned. Cao Zhen hurriedly sent Wen Ping in a small boat to rescue the emperor. Wen Ping jumped onto the dragon boat, carried Cao Pi on his back, got off the boat, and quickly entered a river harbor. Just then, a messenger on a fast horse came to report. Zhao Yun has led troops out from Yangping Pass and is heading straight toward Chang'an. When Cao Pi heard this, his face changed greatly, and he immediately ordered the army to withdraw. When the various Wei forces saw the imperial carriage retreating, they all scattered in disorder. Cao Pi ordered men to abandon the imperial belongings and hurriedly fled for his life. Just as the dragon boat was about to enter the Huai River, drums and horns suddenly sounded together, and shouting shook the sky. A Wu force charged out from the side, led by the great general Sun Shao. The Wei army could not resist. More than half were cut down, and many fell into the water and died. The generals fought desperately to protect Cao Pi as he broke through. Cao Pi had just crossed the Huai River and had gone fewer than 30 li, when large stretches of reeds on both sides of the river were suddenly set on fire. It turned out that those reeds had already been soaked in fish oil. With the wind helping the flames, firelight shot into the sky and surrounded the dragon boat, making it impossible to advance. Cao Pi was terrified and hurriedly jumped down into a small boat to reach the bank. The dragon boat was quickly swallowed by the fire. Cao Pi had just mounted his horse and prepared to flee when another force charged in from the bank, led by Ding Feng. Zhang Liao hurried forward to meet him in battle, but Ding Feng shot him in the waist with an arrow. Fortunately, Su Huang came to rescue him, and the two together protected Cao Pi as he withdrew. Although the Wei army suffered terrible losses, Cao Pi finally escaped danger. Sun Shao and Ding Feng seized the chance to capture many horses, carriages, ships, and weapons. The Wei army suffered a major defeat and could only retreat in disgrace. Su Sheng had won great merit, and Sun Quan rewarded him richly. After Zhang Liao returned to Zuchang, his arrow wound reopened and he died. Cao Pi buried him with great honor. Meanwhile, after Zhao Yun led troops out from Yangping Pass, he suddenly received a document from Zhu Liang. It turned out that the old Yizhou general Yang Kai had formed an alliance with the barbarian king Meng Huo and gathered 100,000 barbarian soldiers, who were now plundering through the 4 commanderies of Yizhou. Zhu Zhiliang ordered Zhao Yun to immediately turn his army back, while Ma Chao would continue to guard Yangping Pass. Zhu Zhiliang himself was preparing to personally lead an army south to campaign against the tribes. After Zhao Yun received the order, he quickly withdrew his troops and returned. At this time, Zhu Zhiliang was in Chengdu organizing troops and horses, preparing to personally march south and pacify the rebellion in the southern region. After Zhu Zhiliang took charge in Chengdu, all affairs of Shu, large and small, were handled personally by him, with fairness and strict discipline. The people of the 2 Chuan regions lived in peace and worked happily. At night, doors did not need to be locked, and no one picked up things lost on the road. On top of that, the harvest had been good for years, the granaries were full, the treasury was rich, and the army's weapons and equipment were all fully prepared. By the 3rd year of Jianxing, an urgent military report suddenly arrived from Yizhou. Meng Huo, the barbarian king of the south, had led 100,000 barbarian soldiers to invade the borders of Shu, burning, killing, and plundering everywhere. Yang Kai, the governor of Jiangling, had joined forces with Meng Huo and raised troops in rebellion. Zhu Bao, the governor of Zhangke, and Gao Ding, the governor of Yuesi, had also surrendered to the enemy and handed their cities over to Meng Huo. Only Wang Kang, the governor of Yongchang, refused to surrender. Together with the officer of merit Lu Kai, he gathered the people and defended Yongchang to the death. Now Yong Kai, Zhu Bao, and Gao Ding were all serving as guides for Meng Huo, and their three forces were joining together to attack Yongchang. The situation was extremely urgent. Zhu Zhiliang immediately entered court and submitted. The southern barbarians refusing to submit is a great danger to the state. I am willing to personally lead the army there to punish them. The later ruler Lu Xun said with worry. To the east, there is Sun Quan. To the north, there is Tao Pi. If Chancellor Father leaves Chengdu for the southern campaign, what if Wei and Wu take the chance to invade? Zhu Zhiliang replied. Eastern Wu has now made peace with us and will not easily turn against us. Even if something changes, Baidi City is guarded by Lian, enough to resist Lu Xun. Wei has just suffered defeat, and its morale is low, so it will not dare send troops rashly. The passes around Hanzhong are guarded by Ma Chao, enough for defense. I have also left Guanxing and Zhang Bao to divide their forces and respond wherever needed. This can ensure your Majesty's complete safety. I ask your Majesty to allow me to first pacify the south, and then plan for the Central Plains, so I may repay the late Emperor's kindness in visiting me 3 times and the weight of his final trust. The later ruler nodded and said, I am young and ignorant. Everything will be decided by Chancellor Father. At this time, the Remonstrance Councillor Wang Lian suddenly stepped forward and loudly advised against it. Absolutely not. The south is poor and barren, with poisonous miasma and widespread disease. The Chancellor carries the heavy responsibility of the state. How can you personally take such a risk on a distant campaign? People like Yong Kai are only a small danger. Send one great general to punish them, and he will surely succeed. Zhu Zhiliang shook his head and said, The southern barbarians are far from the Central Plains, and the people there have not been taught by the court. To truly bring them under control will be extremely difficult. In this campaign, we must adapt to the land and use the right methods for the right people. Sometimes we must be firm, sometimes gentle, and we must respond flexibly. This cannot be lightly entrusted to someone else. I must go personally. Wang Lian pleaded again and again, but Zhu Zhiliang still insisted on his own view. So Zhu Zhiliang took leave of the later ruler. He appointed Zhang Wan as army advisor, Fei Yi as chief clerk, and Dong Ju and Fan Jian as civil officials in the army. Zhao Yun and Wei Yan were appointed as great generals to command the troops and horses. Wang Ping and Zhang Yi were made deputy generals. He also brought dozens of generals from Sichuan and gathered 500,000 Sichuan soldiers, marching in great force toward Yizhou. Before the army set out, Guan Suo, the third son of Guan Yu, came to pay respects to Zhu Zhiliang. Guan Suo said, After Jingzhou fell, I took refuge at Bao family village to recover from my wounds. I always wanted to enter Sichuan and see the late emperor and avenge my father, but my wounds had not healed, so I could not make the journey. Now my injuries and illness have recovered, and I have also heard that the enemies who harmed my father have all been executed, so I hurried toward western Sichuan. I did not expect to meet the southern campaign army on the road, so I came specially to join you. After hearing this, Zhu Zhiliang was deeply moved. He immediately reported it to the court and appointed Guan Suo as vanguard, allowing him to join the southern campaign. The Shu army advanced along the road, marching by day and resting at night. Military discipline was strict. Wherever they passed, they did not disturb even the smallest thing, and the people praised them one after another. When Yong Kai heard that Zhu Zhiliang was personally leading troops south, he immediately discussed a response with Gao Ding and Zhu Bao. The three decided to divide their forces into 3 routes. Gao Ding would take the center, Yong Kai would take the left, and Zhu Bao would take the right. Each would lead 50 or 60,000 troops to meet the enemy. Gao Ding also ordered his officer Yi Huan to serve as vanguard. Yi Huan was 9 chi tall, fierce in appearance, and used a Fangtian halberd. He had the courage to stand against 10,000 men. Just as Zhu Zhiliang's army entered the border of Yizhou, the front vanguard Wei Yan, together with Zhang Yi and Wang Ping, happened to meet Yi Huan. The 2 armies formed their lines. Wei Yan rode forward and cursed loudly, "Rebel, why do you not surrender at once?" Yi Huan was furious and rode out to fight him. After the 2 had fought for several rounds, Wei Yan pretended to retreat in defeat. Yi Huan did not suspect a trap and chased him closely. After several li, shouting suddenly rose, and Zhang Yi and Wang Ping attacked from both wings, cutting off his retreat. Wei Yan then turned back and attacked again. With 3 sides striking together, they captured Yi Huan alive and escorted him to Zhu Zhiliang's tent. Zhu Zhiliang did not punish him. Instead, he ordered his ropes untied, gave him wine and food, and asked gently, "Which force do you belong to?" Yihuan answered, "I am under Gao Ding." Zhu Zhiliang said, "I know Gao Ding was originally a loyal and righteous man. He only committed rebellion because he was misled by Yong Kai. Today, I will release you and let you go back. You may persuade Governor Gao to surrender early so he does not bring destruction upon himself." Yihuan was moved to tears, bowed in thanks, and left. Yihuan returned to Gao Ding's camp and told him in full detail how Zhu Zhiliang had treated him with kindness. After hearing this, Gao Ding was also deeply grateful. The next day, Yong Kai came to Gao Ding's camp and asked, "How did Yihuan come back?" Gao Ding said, "Zhu Zhiliang released him out of righteousness and let him return." Yong Kai sneered and said, "This is Zhu Zhiliang's trick to create suspicion between us. He deliberately released Yihuan because he wants to damage the relationship between you and me." After hearing this, Gao Ding half believed and half doubted it, and uneasiness began to grow in his heart. Before long, the Shu army came to challenge them. Yong Kai personally led 30,000 soldiers into battle. After fighting for a short time, he retreated in defeat, and Wei Yan led troops to pursue him for more than 20 li. After that, Yong Kai came to challenge again, but Zhu Zhiliang held his troops still for 3 days in a row. On the 4th day, Yong Kai and Gao Ding joined their two armies and prepared to attack the main Shu camp from both sides. But Zhu Zhiliang had already ordered Wei Yan to divide troops and set up an ambush. As soon as the two enemy forces arrived, they fell into the ambush. Their losses were heavy, and countless men were captured. Zhu Zhiliang ordered the prisoners to be divided into two groups. Gao Ding's men stood on one side, and Yong Kai's men stood on the other. Then he secretly spread word, "Gao Ding's men may be spared, but all of Yong Kai's men will be beheaded." Before long, Zhu Zhiliang first called Yong Kai's men into the tent and questioned them, "Which army are you from?" These men were afraid of being killed and all changed their words, saying, "We are Gao Ding's men." Zhu Zhiliang smiled without speaking, pardoned them, gave them wine and food, and released them all. Then he called Gao Ding's men in for questioning. Everyone said they truly were Gao Ding's soldiers. Zhu Zhiliang also pardoned them and rewarded them with wine and food, but deliberately said, "Today Yong Kai sent men to surrender, saying he wanted to present the heads of your lord and Zhu Bao to win merit. I truly could not bear it. Since you really are Gao Ding's men, I will let you return. If you rebel again, I will not forgive you lightly." When these soldiers returned to Gao Ding's camp, they told Gao Ding what Zhu Zhiliang had said. After hearing this, Gao Ding became even more uneasy. He sent men to Yong Kai's camp to gather information. They discovered that many of the released soldiers were praising Zhu Zhiliang's kindness and righteousness, and many of Yong Kai's own men also wanted to join Gao Ding. Gao Ding still hesitated, so he sent another man to the Shu camp to find out the truth. That spy had only gone halfway when he was captured by the Shu army and brought before Zhu Zhiliang. Zhu Zhiliang deliberately mistook him for someone sent by Yong Kai and said, "Did your commander not promise to present the heads of Gao Ding and Zhu Bao? Why has the date been delayed? You are not a very clever spy." The man did not dare say much and could only answer vaguely. Zhu Zhiliang then gave him wine and food, wrote a secret letter, handed it to him, and said, "Quickly give this letter to Yong Kai. Tell him to act soon and not delay the matter." The spy returned to Gao Ding, presented the letter, and repeated Zhu Zhiliang's words. After Gao Ding read the letter, he flew into a rage. "I treated Yong Kai sincerely, yet he wants to harm me." He immediately summoned Yihuan to discuss the matter. Yihuan said, "The Chancellor is a man of kindness and virtue. We rebelled only because we were dragged into it by Yong Kai. It would be better to turn back, kill Yong Kai, and submit to the Chancellor." Gao Ding asked, "How should we do it?" Yihuan offered a plan. "Set a banquet and invite Yong Kai to come. If he has no suspicion, he will surely attend. If he refuses to come, then he must have evil thoughts. At that time, my lord can attack from the front, while I lead troops to hide on the mountain road behind the camp. As long as he runs, we can surely capture him." Gao Ding followed the plan and set a banquet, inviting Yong Kai to attend. As expected, because of the earlier rumors, Yong Kai became suspicious and did not dare come. That night, Gao Ding led troops in a surprise attack on Yong Kai's main camp. Those men in Yong Kai's camp who had been released by Zhu Zhiliang remembered Gao Ding's kindness and also took the chance to respond. Before the battle had even truly begun, the camp had already fallen into chaos. Yong Kai hurriedly mounted his horse and fled by the mountain road behind the camp. Before he had gone even 2 li, drums suddenly thundered ahead, and Yihuan's ambush troops rushed out. Yong Kai was caught off guard and was struck down from his horse by Yihuan's halberd. His head was cut off on the spot. Yong Kai's men all submitted to Gao Ding. Gao Ding brought the troops of both forces and came to surrender to Zhu Zhiliang, presenting Yong Kai's head. But from the commander's tent, Zhuge Liang shouted, "Take Gao Ding out and execute him." Gao Ding was shocked and said, "I remembered the Chancellor's great kindness, killed Yang Kai, and came to surrender. Why do you still want to execute me?" Zhuge Liang smiled and said, "You are pretending to surrender, and you still dare deceive me." Gao Ding hurriedly asked, "On what grounds does the Chancellor say I am falsely surrendering?" Zhuge Liang took a secret letter from a box and said, "Zhu Bao has secretly presented a surrender letter, saying that you and Yang Kai were sworn friends in life and death. How could you kill him in one night?" "That is why I know your surrender is false." Gao Ding quickly cried that he was wronged. "This is Zhu Bao's plan to sow discord. Chancellor, you must not believe it." Zhuge Liang said, "I cannot listen only to your side either. If you truly surrender, then capture Zhu Bao and bring him to me. Only then can you prove it." Gao Ding immediately agreed. "I will go capture Zhu Bao now and personally bring him here." Gao Ding took Yi Huan and his own troops and headed straight toward Zhu Bao's camp. When they were still 10 li away from the camp, a force suddenly rushed out from behind the mountain. It was Zhu Bao. When Zhu Bao saw Gao Ding leading troops toward him, he became suspicious and rode forward to ask what was happening. Gao Ding cursed him loudly. "Why did you secretly write to Chancellor Zhuge and use a trick to harm me?" Zhu Bao was so shocked that he could not speak. At that moment, Yi Huan rode around behind Zhu Bao and stabbed him with one thrust of his halberd. Zhu Bao fell from his horse and died on the spot. Seeing that the situation was lost, Zhu Bao's men all surrendered. Gao Ding brought the troops of both forces and again came to see Zhuge Liang, presenting Zhu Bao's head. Zhuge Liang laughed loudly and said, "What I wanted all along was for you to kill these two rebellious traitors and show your loyalty." So he appointed Gao Ding as governor of Yizhou, placing him in charge of the affairs of the three commanderies, and appointed Yi Huan as a deputy general. At this point, all three routes of rebellion in the south had been pacified. Wang Kang, the governor of Yangchang, came out of the city to welcome Zhuge Liang. After Zhuge Liang entered the city, he asked, "Who guarded the city together with you and kept Yangchang safe?" Wang Kang replied, "It was all thanks to the help of the local worthy man Liu Kai. His surname is Liu, his given name is Kai, and his courtesy name is Jiping. He truly made a great contribution." Zhuge Liang summoned Liu Kai to meet him and praised him, saying, "I have long heard that you are a worthy man of Yangchang. This time you protected the city, and you truly have merit. Now I am preparing to go deep into the southern barbarians to punish the rebellion. Do you have any thoughts?" Liu Kai took a map from inside his robe and presented it, saying, "I noticed long ago that the various tribes of the south had rebellious intentions, so I secretly sent men into southern barbarian territory to inspect the terrain and the places where battles could be fought. They drew this map, called the Map for Pacifying the Barbarians, in the palm of the hand. Now I present it to the Chancellor, hoping it can help with the southern campaign." Zhuge Liang was delighted. He appointed Liu Kai as instructor for the marching army and also as guide officer. Then he led the army deep into the southern barbarian lands. While the army was marching, an urgent report suddenly arrived. The Son of Heaven has sent an envoy to the army. Zhuge Liang received the envoy in the central camp. The visitor was dressed in plain white mourning robes. It was Ma Su. Because his elder brother Ma Liang had recently passed away, Ma Su was still in mourning. After paying his respects, Ma Su said, "By His Majesty's command, wine and silk are being granted to the army." After Zhuge Liang received the edict, he ordered the rewards to be distributed and then kept Ma Su behind to talk. Zhuge Liang asked, "I have received orders to campaign against the southern barbarians. I have long heard that Yucheng has far-reaching insight. Do you have any good plan?" Ma Su replied, "The southern barbarians rely on their distance and difficult mountains, and they have refused the teachings of the Central Plains for a long time. Even if they are defeated today, they may rebel again tomorrow. After the Chancellor pacifies the south, you will surely begin the northern campaign against Tawei. If the barbarians know that the court is empty, they will rebel even more quickly. In warfare, attacking the heart is best. Attacking cities is lower. Winning through the mind is best. Winning through soldiers is lower. I hope the Chancellor can make them submit in their hearts." After hearing this, Zhuge Liang sighed deeply and said, "Yucheng, you truly understand what I am thinking." So he appointed Ma Su as army advisor and had him join in planning the campaign. Meanwhile, Ming Huo, the king of the southern barbarians, learned that Zhuge Liang had already used strategy to defeat Yang Kai and the others. He quickly summoned the 3 cave marshals to discuss the situation. The first cave marshal, Jinhuan Sanjie, the second cave marshal, Dong Tuna, and the third cave marshal, Hui Nan, all came to see Ming Huo. Ming Huo said, "Zhuge Liang has personally led a great army into our territory, We must resist with all our strength. You three will divide into 3 routes. Whoever wins, I will name him Cave Chief." So Jinhuan Sanjie took the middle route, Dong Tuna took the left route, and Ahuinan took the right route. Each led 50,000 barbarian soldiers and set out. When Zhu Zhiliang learned that the 3 barbarian commanders had divided their troops into 3 routes and were pressing forward, he summoned Zhao Yun and Wei Yan into the tent, but he did not send them into battle. Then he summoned Wang Ping and Ma Zhong into the tent and said, "The barbarian troops are attacking in 3 routes. I originally wanted to send Zilong and Wenchang to face them, but they are not familiar with the southern lands, so it is not convenient to send them. Wang Ping will meet the left route, and Ma Zhong will meet the right route. I will have Zilong and Wenchang follow behind to support you." The 2 accepted the order and left. Zhu Zhiliang then summoned Zhang Ni and Zhang Yi and said, "You 2 will face the enemy in the middle route together. Today, prepare your troops and horses. Tomorrow, meet up with Wang Ping and Ma Zhong." Zhang Ni and Zhang Yi also accepted the order and set out. When Zhao Yun and Wei Yan saw that Zhu Zhiliang was not using them, both had displeased looks on their faces. Zhu Zhiliang said, "It is not that I do not want to use you. I am only worried that you are no longer young. If you fall into dangerous ground and are plotted against by the barbarians, it would damage our sharp force." Zhao Yun was unconvinced and said, "What if we become familiar with the terrain?" Zhu Zhiliang only warned them, "Just be careful and do not act rashly." After the 2 withdrew, they were still unwilling to accept it. Zhao Yun invited Wei Yan to his own tent to discuss the matter and said, "We 2 are honored old generals, yet we are being told that we do not know the geography, while younger generals are sent into battle instead. Would that not make people laugh?" Wei Yan said, "Why do we not go scout the road ourselves, capture a few barbarian soldiers to guide us, and attack them by surprise before they are ready?" Zhao Yun nodded in agreement. The 2 immediately mounted their horses and set out from the middle route. Before long, they saw dozens of barbarian riders coming from far away. Zhao Yun and Wei Yan attacked from both sides. The barbarian soldiers were shocked and fled in all directions. The 2 each captured several barbarian soldiers, brought them back to the camp, gave them food and drink, and questioned them carefully. The barbarian soldiers said, "Ahead is the main camp of Marshal Jinhuan Sanjie, right beside the mountain pass. The 2 roads east and west of the camp lead to Wuxi Cave and to the rear of Dong Tuna and Ahuinan's camps." After Zhao Yun and Wei Yan understood this, they immediately selected 5,000 elite soldiers and had the barbarian soldiers guide them. At the second watch of the night, they traveled under the moonlight. By the 4th watch, they reached Jinhuan Sanjie's main camp. At this time, the barbarian soldiers had just risen to prepare food and were waiting for daybreak to go into battle. They never expected Zhao Yun and Wei Yan to attack from 2 directions. The barbarian troops were caught completely off guard, and their formation fell into chaos. Zhao Yun led the charge, rushing straight into the central army, where he encountered Jinhuan Sanjie. The 2 had not fought even one exchange before. Zhao Yun struck him down from his horse with 1 spear thrust and cut off his head on the spot. The barbarian soldiers fled in all directions. Wei Yan immediately divided his troops and moved toward the rear of Dong Tuna's camp. Zhao Yun also divided his troops and circled toward the rear of Ahuinan's camp. By the time they reached the 2 barbarian camps, the sky was already bright. Wei Yan attacked the rear of Dong Tuna's camp. Dong Tuna hurried out of the camp to meet him in battle. As they were fighting, shouting suddenly rose at the front of the camp. It turned out that Wang Ping had already attacked from the front. With attacks from front and rear, the barbarian troops suffered a major defeat, and Dong Tuna abandoned his horse and fled over the mountains. On Zhao Yun's side, he had also reached the rear of Ahuinan's camp, while Ma Zhong was attacking from the front. With both sides striking together, the barbarian troops were badly defeated, and Ahuinan also escaped in the chaos. The generals returned to camp after winning the battle and came to see Zhu Zhiliang. Zhu Zhiliang asked, "Among the 3 cave barbarian forces, 2 cave chiefs have escaped. Where is Jinhuan Sanji's head?" Zhao Yun presented the head. The others said, "Dong Tuna and Ahuinan both abandoned their horses and fled over the mountains. We could not catch them." Zhu Zhiliang smiled and said, "Those 2 men have already been captured by me." None of the generals believed it. After a while, Zhang Ni escorted Dong Tuna into the tent, and Zhang Yi also escorted Ahuinan in. Everyone was deeply amazed. Zhu Zhiliang explained, "I had studied Lu Kai's map and already knew the locations of their main camps, so I deliberately used words to stir up the sharp spirit of Zilong and Wenchang, sending them deep into important ground. First, they would break Jinhuan Sanjie, then divide left and right and attack from behind the camps, while Wang Ping and Ma Zhong supported them from the front. Without Zilong and Wenchang, others could not have handled this. I also expected that Dong Tuna and A Huinan would flee over the mountains, so I sent Zhang Ni and Zhang Yi to set ambushes and had Guan Suo lead troops to support them. Sure enough, the two were captured. After hearing this, the generals all bowed in admiration and praised Zhu Zhiliang's divine strategy. Zhu Zhiliang ordered Dong Tuna and A Huinan to be brought before the tent. He had their ropes untied, granted them wine and food, and also gave them clothes. Then he said to them, "Each of you may return to your own caves. Do not help Meng Huo do evil again." The two were so moved that they wept, kowtowed in thanks, and left by a small path. Zhu Zhiliang then said to the generals, "Tomorrow Meng Huo will surely lead troops in person to fight. We can use this chance to capture him." So he summoned Zhao Yun, Wei Yan, Wang Ping, and Guan Suo separately into the tent, explained different plans to each of them, and ordered them to take troops and set up ambushes. Zhuge Liang himself sat in the main tent and calmly waited for news. Meanwhile, Meng Huo was in his military tent when scouts suddenly reported, "The 3 cave marshals have all been captured by Zhuge Liang, and the remaining barbarian troops are fleeing in defeat." Meng Huo flew into a rage and immediately led his barbarian soldiers forward. Before he had gone far, he ran into Wang Ping's army. The two armies formed their lines. Wang Ping stood on horseback with his blade held across. In the barbarian army, Meng Huo wore a purple gold crown set with jewels, a red brocade battle robe, a jade belt at his waist, and green boots on his feet. He rode a red-maned horse, with 2 precious swords hanging at his sides, looking full of confidence. He looked at the Shu army's formation and sneered. "Everyone says Zhu Zhiliang uses troops like a god, but from what I see, this formation has confused banners and disorderly ranks. It is nothing special. If I had known this earlier, I would have rebelled long ago. Who dares step forward, capture the Shu general, and strengthen our army's power?" Before he had finished speaking, the barbarian general Mang Yacheng waved his broad chopping blade, rode a yellow horse, and charged straight toward Wang Ping. The two fought for several rounds, and Wang Ping pretended to retreat in defeat. Meng Huo was delighted and immediately urged his troops to pursue fiercely. Guan Suo also rode out and fought, then retreated after only a short battle. The Shu army fought while withdrawing, retreating for more than 20 li. Meng Huo pursued all the way and was fighting with great excitement when suddenly shouting rose on both sides. On the left, Yang Ni appeared. On the right, Jiang Yi appeared. 2 ambush forces rushed out and cut off the road back. Wang Ping and Guan Suo also turned around and attacked. Struck from front and rear, the barbarian soldiers fell into chaos. Meng Huo led his personal guards in a desperate breakout and fled toward Jindai Mountain. The pursuing troops pressed closely behind him. As Meng Huo fled, shouting suddenly shook the sky ahead, and a force blocked the road. The leader was Zhao Yun. When Meng Huo saw Zhao Yun, he was greatly shocked and quickly turned back to escape by a smaller path. Zhao Yun attacked fiercely, scattering the barbarian soldiers until they could no longer form ranks, and captured countless men. Meng Huo had only a few dozen riders left beside him, and fled into a valley. The mountain road was narrow, and the horses could not pass, so Meng Huo had to abandon his horse and flee on foot, climbing over mountains to escape. But just as he entered the valley, a drum suddenly sounded, shaking the whole area. Wei Yan led 500 foot soldiers out from ambush. Meng Huo was exhausted and no longer had the strength to resist. He was captured alive by Wei Yan. His personal guards also surrendered. Wei Yan escorted Meng Huo and the prisoners to the main camp to see Zhu Zhiliang. Zhu Zhiliang had already slaughtered cattle and sheep, prepared a banquet, and set up 7 layers of defense inside the tent, with blades, spears, swords, and halberds all ready. The imperial guards were lined up strictly on both sides. Large numbers of barbarian soldiers were brought before the tent one after another. Zhu Zhiliang ordered their ropes untied and comforted them gently, saying, "You were originally good people. You were only forced by Meng Huo, and that is why you followed the army here. Now your parents, brothers, wives, and children must be waiting for you at home. If they hear that you were defeated and captured, they will surely be burning with worry. Now I will release you and let you go home, so your families can be at ease." After saying this, he also gave them wine, food, and grain, allowing them to return home by themselves. The barbarian soldiers were moved to tears, kowtowed, and left one after another. Then Zhu Zhiliang ordered the warriors to escort Meng Huo before the tent. Meng Huo was bound and knelt below the tent. Zhu Zhiliang asked, "The late emperor treated you well. Why did you rebel?" Meng Huo's anger had not faded. He said, "The land of the 2 Quan regions was never yours. It was taken by others. Your lord relied on strength, occupied the land, and declared himself emperor. My people have lived here for generations. Now you have invaded my homeland. On what grounds do you say I rebelled? Zhu Zhiliang asked again. Now that I have captured you, are you convinced? Meng Huo refused to yield. The mountain road was narrow and I was careless for a moment, so I fell into your hands. How could I be convinced? Zhu Zhiliang smiled and said, Since you are not convinced, what if I release you? Meng Huo's spirit rose at once and he said, If you are willing to let me go, I will reorganize my troops and fight you openly again. If you can capture me again, then I will be truly convinced. Zhu Zhiliang nodded and agreed. He immediately ordered Meng Huo's ropes untied, had him given new clothes, granted him wine and food, prepared a saddled horse, and sent men to escort him out of the camp and back to his stronghold. After Kongming released Meng Huo, the generals all came into the command tent and asked, Meng Huo is the leader of the southern barbarians. Now that we finally captured him, the war in the south should have been settled. Chancellor, why did you release him again? Kongming smiled and said, Capturing him is easy as taking something from a bag. But what I want is not only to capture his body, I want to win his heart. Only when he truly submits in his heart can the south be truly at peace. After hearing this, the generals still had doubts in their hearts, but none of them dared ask more. Meng Huo returned all the way to the Lu River and happened to meet the barbarian soldiers who had fled earlier. When the men saw him return, they were both shocked and delighted. They all bowed and asked, Great King, how did you escape? Meng Huo lied and said, I was locked inside the Shu camp. I seized a chance to kill more than 10 men, then escaped during the night. On the road, I ran into a patrol force, killed them too, seized a horse, and escaped back here. The barbarian soldiers believed it and were all very happy. They surrounded Meng Huo and crossed the Lu River with him, then set up camp again on the southern bank. Meng Huo then summoned the chiefs of the various caves. The barbarian soldiers who had earlier been released by Kongming also returned one after another. Before long, he had gathered more than 100,000 troops again. Dong Tuna and A Huinan were also in their own cave strongholds. Meng Huo sent men to summon them. Although the two feared Kongming, they did not dare disobey Meng Huo, so they had no choice but to bring their own troops and come. Meng Huo said to everyone, I have already seen through Zhu Zhiliang's plans. We cannot fight him head-on. Once we fight directly, we will easily fall into his trap. His Sichuan soldiers have come from far away, and now the weather is burning hot. How could they possibly stay here for long? We have the Lu River as a barrier. As long as we keep all the boats and rafts on the southern bank, then build earth walls along the river, dig deep trenches, and raise high defenses. Let us see what Zhu Zhiliang can do. All the chiefs thought this plan could work. So they gathered all the boats and rafts, built high walls and earthen fortifications along the southern bank of the Lu River, and also built watchtowers against the mountains and cliffs. On the towers, they placed bows, crossbows, and stone-throwing engines, planning to hold out for a long time. Grain and supplies would be provided and transported by the different caves. Meng Huo believed everything was perfectly secure, and from then on, he relaxed. On Kongming's side, he led the army forward, and the front troops had already reached the Lu River. Scouts came to report, there are no boats or rafts on the Lu River. The current is fast, and on the opposite bank, high walls have been built along the river. The barbarian soldiers are guarding it tightly. At this time, it was the 5th month. The weather was extremely hot, and the south was even more stifling. It was hard for the soldiers and horses to wear armor and equipment. Kongming personally went to the Lu River to inspect the situation. After returning to camp, he gathered the generals and said, Meng Huo has stationed his troops on the southern bank of the Lu River with deep trenches and high defenses, hoping to block our army. Since we have already come this far, how can we return empty-handed? For now, each army should camp near mountains and forests, find shaded places, and preserve strength. So Kongming ordered Lu Kai to find shaded land about 100 li from the Lu River and set up 4 camps separately. He also ordered Wangping, Jiangni, Jiangyi, and Guansuo to each guard 1 camp. Each camp built grass shelters so that the soldiers and war horses could escape the heat and rest. After seeing this, the army advisor Zhang Wan entered the tent and said to Kongming, The terrain of these camps is not good. In some ways, it resembles the situation when the late emperor was attacked by Eastern Wu with fire. If the barbarian soldiers secretly cross the river and raid our camps, then use fire attack, how should we respond? Kongming smiled and said, You do not need to be suspicious. I have my own clever plan. Zhang Wan and the others did not understand what he meant, but they did not ask further. Before long, scouts reported, Madai has brought medicine against the summer heat and grain from Shu, and he has already arrived in the army. Kongming ordered him to be brought in, After Ma Dai paid his respects, he distributed the rice, grain, and medicine to the 4 camps. Kong Ming asked, "How many soldiers did you bring?" Ma Dai replied, 3,000. Kong Ming said, "Our army is tired after repeated battles. I would like to borrow your troops for a task. Are you willing?" Ma Dai answered, "They are all soldiers of the court. Why divide yours and mine? If the chancellor wishes to use them, I would die 10,000 times without refusal." Kong Ming nodded and said, "Now Meng Huo is holding the Lu River and will not let our army cross. I want to first cut off his grain route and make his army's heart fall into disorder. 150 li downstream from here, there is a place called Shaku, where the water is slower and rafts can be used to cross. You will lead 3,000 soldiers across the river from Shaku, go straight into the rear of the barbarians, and cut off their grain road. Then find a way to contact Dongtuna and Ahuinan and have them serve as inside support. You must be careful and not ruin the matter." Ma Dai accepted the order and left, leading his troops toward Shaku. Because the water was not deep, many soldiers did not use wooden rafts. Instead, they took off their clothes and waded directly through the water. But when they had gone halfway, many suddenly collapsed. By the time they were rescued to the bank, blood was flowing from their mouths and noses, and they died on the spot. Ma Dai was shocked and hurried back overnight to report to Kong Ming. Kong Ming immediately summoned local guides and questioned them. The locals said, "Right now, it is the hottest season, and poisonous vapors have gathered in the Lu River. During the day, the hot vapors rise. If people enter the water, they will surely be poisoned. If they drink the water, they will also die. If you want to cross, you must wait until night, when the water cools and the poison vapors do not rise. Then have the soldiers eat their fill before crossing the river, and only then will they be safe." So Kong Ming ordered the locals to guide the way, and he chose 500 or 600 elite soldiers to go with Ma Dai to Shaku again. At midnight, they built rafts and crossed the river, and sure enough, nothing happened. Ma Dai led 2,000 elite soldiers, guided by the locals, and went straight toward Jiashan Valley, the main route used by the barbarians to transport grain. Jiashan Valley had high mountains on both sides, with only one narrow path in the middle, allowing just one man and one horse to pass at a time. Ma Dai seized the place, divided his troops to defend it, and built a camp in the valley. When the barbarian soldiers transported grain to this point, Ma Dai cut them off from front and rear, and seized more than 100 grain carts. The barbarian soldiers hurried back to report to Meng Huo. At this time, Meng Huo was drinking and making merry with the chiefs in his camp, ignoring military affairs every day. He said proudly, "If I face Zhuge Liang directly in battle, I will surely fall into his plan. Now I rely on the danger of the Lu River, with deep trenches and high defenses to delay them. They cannot endure the heat and will soon retreat. When that time comes, we will chase after them and capture Zhuge Liang." One chief reminded him, "The water at Shaku is shallow. If the Shu soldiers secretly cross the river there will surely be danger. We should send soldiers to guard it." Meng Huo did not take it seriously. "I am hoping they will come and cross the Lu River. As soon as they enter the water, they will surely die." The chief said again, "What if local people tell the Shu army the way to cross at night?" Meng Huo laughed and said, "The people within our territory, how could they help outsiders?" Before he had finished speaking, a scout came to report. A Shu force has already secretly crossed the Lu River and cut off the Jiashan grain road. They are flying the banner of Ma Dai, general who pacifies the north. Meng Huo sneered. "He is only a minor figure. What is there to fear?" He immediately ordered his deputy general Mang Yachang to lead 3,000 soldiers to Jiashan Valley to meet the enemy. When Ma Dai saw the barbarian soldiers arrive, he formed ranks before the mountain. Mang Yachang rode out to fight him. In just one exchange, Ma Dai swung his blade and cut Mang Yachang down from his horse. Seeing their commander killed, the barbarian soldiers were immediately defeated and fled back to report to Meng Huo. Meng Huo flew into a rage and asked the generals, "Who dares go fight Ma Dai?" Dongtuna stepped forward and said, "I am willing to go." Meng Huo was delighted. He gave him 3,000 soldiers and also ordered Ahuinan to take 3,000 soldiers to guard Shaku, to prevent more Shu troops from crossing the river. Dongtuna came to Jiashan Valley and set up camp. Ma Dai personally rode out to fight. Ma Dai's subordinates recognized Dongtuna as the barbarian general who had been released by Kong Ming last time, so they told Ma Dai. Ma Dai rode forward and cursed loudly. "You ungrateful man! The chancellor spared your life, yet you rebel again. Do you feel no shame?" Dongtuna was cursed until his face turned red. He had no words to answer, so he turned around and left, not daring to fight. Ma Dai seized the chance to pursue and kill for a while, cutting down many barbarian soldiers before returning to camp. Dongtuna returned to Meng Huo's camp and said, "Ma Dai is brave. I am no match for him." Meng Huo was furious. I knew long ago that you had received Zhuge Liang's kindness. This time, you deliberately retreated without fighting. You are selling out the battle line." He immediately ordered Dong Tuna taken out and beheaded. The chiefs all pleaded for him, and only then did Meng Huo spare his life. He merely ordered Dong Tuna beaten with 100 military rods and sent him back to his own camp. Many chiefs came to advise Dong Tuna. "We originally lived in the barbarian lands and never invaded the central plains. This time, we were forced by Meng Huo, and that is why we had no choice but to rebel. Now Kong Ming's strategy is impossible to predict, and he once spared our lives. We truly have no way to repay him. It would be better to kill Meng Huo and submit to Kong Ming, so the people in our caves do not suffer disaster." Dong Tuna asked, "Are you truly sincere?" Those who had once been released by Kong Ming all said together, "We are willing to follow the general." So Dong Tuna held a steel blade and led more than 100 trusted men straight toward Meng Huo's main camp. Meng Huo was drunk and collapsed inside the tent with no defenses at all. 2 guards were standing in front of the tent. Dong Tuna pointed at them and said, "You were also men whose lives the chancellor spared. Now it is time to repay that kindness." The 2 generals said, "General, there is no need for you to act. We will personally seize Meng Huo and send him to see the chancellor." The 3 then rushed into the tent, tied up the heavily drunk Meng Huo, escorted him to the Lu River, crossed by boat to the northern bank, and sent men to report to Kong Ming. Kong Ming had already learned of this through spies, so he secretly ordered all camps to ready their weapons. Then he had Dong Tuna enter the tent first and explain the situation. Kong Ming rewarded Dong Tuna generously and comforted him, telling him to bring the chiefs back to camp and await orders. After that, the executioners escorted Meng Huo into the tent. When Kong Ming saw Meng Huo, he smiled and said, "Earlier, you said that if I captured you one more time, you would surrender. What do you say now?" Meng Huo stubbornly replied, "This was not because you, Zhu Jiliang, have ability. It was because my own men killed each other and caused me to be captured. How could I be willing to submit?" Kong Ming said, "What if I release you again?" Meng Huo's spirit rose at once and he said, "If you are willing to let me go, I will reorganize my troops and fight you openly again. If I am captured this time, then I will surrender with all my heart and never go back on my word." Kong Ming nodded and agreed. He immediately ordered Meng Huo's bonds loosened, granted him wine and food, and even allowed him to sit at the same table with the generals. During the banquet, Kong Ming said, "Ever since I left my thatched cottage, I have won every battle and taken every city I attacked. You are only a small state of the southern barbarians. Why do you refuse to submit?" Meng Huo lowered his head and said nothing. After the wine, Kong Ming took Meng Huo on horseback and personally led him around the camps, letting him see the Shu army's grain reserves, weapons, and military equipment. Kong Ming pointed at the supplies filling the camp and said, "Our army has strong soldiers, powerful horses, and plenty of grain. If you still refuse to surrender, that would truly be foolish. If you surrender early, I can report to the Son of Heaven and allow you to continue as king, with your descendants ruling the southern barbarians for generations. What do you think?" Meng Huo said, "I am willing to surrender, but the people in the caves and my officers may not truly submit. If the chancellor is willing to release me again, I will go back and persuade my own troops to accept peace. Only when everyone is of one heart can we sincerely surrender." Kong Ming was very pleased after hearing this, so he personally escorted Meng Huo to the Lu River and arranged boats to send him back to his camp. But after Meng Huo returned to his camp, evil thoughts rose in his mind. He first hid executioners under his tent, then sent men to falsely claim that they came by Kong Ming's order and invited Dong Tuna and Ahuinan into the camp. The 2 suspected nothing. As soon as they reached the front of the tent, Meng Huo gave the order to kill them, and their bodies were thrown into a deep ravine. After that, Meng Huo sent trusted men to guard the passes, while he himself led troops out of Jiashan Valley, preparing to fight Ma Dai again. But when he arrived there, he did not see a single person. After asking the local people, he learned that Ma Dai had already withdrawn the grain and supplies the previous night, led his troops back across the Lu River, and returned to the main Shu camp. Meng Huo returned to his cave and discussed matters with his younger brother, Meng Yu. He said, "Now I have already seen clearly what is real and what is false in Zhu Zhiliang's army. You may act according to my plan." Then he explained the plan to Meng Yu in detail. After receiving the order, Meng Yu led more than 100 barbarian soldiers carrying gold, silver, jewels, ivory, rhinoceros horn, and other precious items. They crossed the Lu River and headed toward Kong Ming's main camp. Just after they crossed the river, drums suddenly thundered and an army blocked the road. The leader was Ma Dai. Meng Yu explained his purpose, saying that he had come under his elder brother's order to present gifts. Ma Dai ordered him to wait outside the camp and sent someone to report to Kong Ming. Kong Ming was in the tent discussing plans for pacifying the south with Ma Su, Lu Kai, Jiang Wan, Fei Yi, and the others. When he heard that the Meng Yu had come with treasures, he smiled and asked Ma Su, "What do you think his intention is in coming here?" Ma Su said, "I dare not say it aloud. Allow me to write it on paper." Kong Ming nodded. After Ma Su finished writing and presented it, Kong Ming looked at it and laughed. "My plan to capture Meng Huo has already been arranged. What you have guessed is the same as what I thought." Then Kong Ming summoned Zhao Yun, Wei Yan, Wang Ping, Ma Zhong, and Guan Suo one after another, quietly giving each of them secret orders and telling them to act according to the plan. After everything had been arranged, Kong Ming finally allowed Meng Yu to enter the tent. Meng Yu knelt and said, "My elder brother Meng Huo has received the Chancellor's great kindness in sparing his life and has no way to repay it. So he has specially prepared gold, silver, jewels, rare treasures, and unusual goods to offer as supplies for rewarding the army. In the future, he will prepare other tribute and present it to the Son of Heaven." Kong Ming asked, "Where is your elder brother now?" Meng Yu replied, "My elder brother is grateful for the Chancellor's kindness and has gone specially to Silver Pit Mountain to gather treasures. He will return before long." Kong Ming asked again, "How many men did you bring?" Meng Yu said, "I did not dare bring many. I only brought a little over 100 men, all of them here to carry the goods." Kong Ming ordered his followers to be invited into the tent. He saw that every one of them had blue eyes, dark faces, yellow hair, purple beards, bare feet, and loose hair. They were tall, powerful, and had astonishing arm strength. Kong Ming pretended to have no guard up at all. Instead, he ordered them to sit down, drink wine, and eat meat. He also had the generals drink with them and treated them warmly. On the other side, Meng Huo was waiting in his own camp for news. Suddenly, 2 scouts returned and reported. After Zhuge Liang accepted the gifts, he was very pleased. He invited all the followers into the tent, held a great banquet, and treated them very well. "The second king told us to secretly report that tonight, at the second watch, we must work together from inside and outside and take action." Meng Huo was overjoyed. He immediately gathered 30,000 barbarian soldiers and divided them into 3 groups. He ordered the chiefs of every cave to bring torches. Tonight, once they reached the Shu camp, they were to set fires as the signal, while he personally charged into the central camp and captured Zhuge Liang alive. At dusk, the barbarian troops crossed the Lu River in separate groups and quietly approached the Shu camp. Meng Huo took more than 100 of his most trusted guards and rushed straight toward Kong Ming's main camp. Along the way, they did not see a single Shu soldier. When they reached the camp gate, it was still an empty camp. Meng Huo rushed into the central camp and saw the tent brightly lit. Meng Yu and all the barbarian followers were lying drunk on the ground, the smell of wine filling the air. It turned out that Kong Ming had long ago ordered Ma Su and Lu Kai to control and entertain Meng Yu and his men. He also had musicians perform songs, dances, and tricks, while warmly urging them to drink. He had sleeping drugs placed in the wine, and all 100 or more barbarian soldiers were made so drunk that they collapsed like mud. When Meng Huo saw this, he knew at once that he had fallen into a trap. He quickly rescued Meng Yu and the others and prepared to withdraw. But suddenly, shouting rose ahead, firelight flared up, and the barbarian soldiers fled in every direction. Wang Ping led troops out from the front. Meng Huo panicked and quickly turned toward the left, only to run into Wei Yan. He then tried to flee to the right, but saw Zhao Yan blocking the road. The 3 armies were like a net from heaven and a trap from earth, surrounding Meng Huo completely. Firelight rose into the sky on all sides, and weapons clashed everywhere. Meng Huo had no road left, so he abandoned his troops and fled alone on horseback toward the Lu River. When he reached the riverbank, he saw dozens of barbarian soldiers rowing small boats on the water. He quickly shouted for them to come to shore. Those men rowed closer, and Meng Huo dismounted and boarded the boat. But the instant he stepped onto the boat, a horn sounded, and Meng Huo was seized on the spot. It turned out that these so-called barbarian soldiers were actually Ma Dai and Shu soldiers in disguise, who had already been waiting there. Before long, Ma Dai escorted Meng Huo to the main tent. Zhao Yun also brought Meng Yu, Wei Yan, Ma Zhong, Wang Ping, Guan Suo, and the others also captured the chiefs of the various caves and escorted them before the army. Kong Ming pointed at Meng Huo and smiled. "First, you had your younger brother bring gifts and pretend to surrender. Then you planned to attack my main camp with help from inside and outside. How could you hide this from me? Now you have fallen into my hands again. Are you convinced?" Meng Huo still shook his head. "This happened because my younger brother was greedy for food and drink, and you drugged him until he collapsed, ruining the great matter. If I had personally come to see you and had my younger brother lead the troops in support, I would have captured you long ago. This time, heaven was simply not on my side. It was not because I am incapable. How could I be convinced? Kongming smiled and said, "You have already been captured 3 times and you still refuse to submit." Menghuo lowered his head and said nothing. Kongming said, "Fine, I will release you one more time." When Menghuo heard this, his eyes brightened and he said, "If the Chancellor is willing to release my brother and me, let me go back, settle my family and personal guards, and fight you in a real battle with real weapons. If I lose again then, I will surrender completely and never change my mind." Kongming said, "If I capture you again, I will not release you so easily. Go back and study the art of war carefully. Organize your men well, and bring out a clever plan soon. Do not regret it later." After saying this, Kongming ordered the ropes untied and released Menghuo, Mengyu, and the chiefs of the various caves on the spot, letting all of them return. Menghuo and the others bowed in thanks and left. By this time, the Shu army had already crossed the Lu River smoothly. As soon as Menghuo reached the shore, he saw army flags snapping in the wind and soldiers standing in ranks along the riverbank. Ma Dai sat high before the camp, holding a precious sword, and shouted, "If you are captured again this time, you will not be spared lightly." Menghuo hurried away. When he returned to his old camp, he found that Zhao Yun had already seized it and stationed heavy troops there. Zhao Yun drew his sword and scolded him. "The Chancellor has treated you with such generosity. Do not forget this great kindness." Menghuo could only agree again and again, then fled in a sorry state. When he was almost at the mountain border, he saw Wei Yan leading 1,000 elite troops and blocking the road ahead. Wei Yan reined in his horse and angrily shouted, "Our army has already entered deep into your nest and taken your important positions, yet you are still foolishly resisting. If you are captured again, you will surely be smashed to pieces." Menghuo and the others were so frightened that their souls nearly flew away. They could only cover their heads and flee like rats, escaping back to their cave. After Kongming crossed the Lu River smoothly, he set up camp and richly rewarded the whole army. Then he gathered the generals and said, "When Menghuo was captured the second time, I deliberately took him through our camps and showed him what was real and what was false, because I wanted to lure him into attacking the camp. I knew that he also understood military strategy, so I deliberately showed him our grain, supplies, and weapons, letting him see the so-called weakness. Sure enough, he wanted to use fire attack. He had Meng Yu come to pretend to surrender only because he wanted someone inside to respond. I captured and released him 3 times, not because I wanted to kill him, but because I wanted to win his heart. You do not need to fear hardship. Just serve the state with all your heart." The generals bowed and said, "The Chancellor has wisdom, virtue, and courage all together. Even Zhang Ziya and Zhang Liang might not be able to surpass you." Kongming smiled and said, "How would I dare compare myself to the ancients? It is only because all of you have worked together with one heart that we have achieved today's success." After hearing this, the general's morale became even stronger. After Menghuo had been captured and released 3 times, he was both ashamed and furious. When he returned to Silver Pit Cave, he slapped the table and stamped his feet. He immediately sent trusted men carrying gold, silver, and treasures to the 8 Fan and 93 Dian regions, as well as to all the large and small tribes of the southern barbarians, spreading battle orders everywhere. He gathered Dai Liao troops and strong fighting men, bringing together several 100,000 soldiers. Their force was vast and powerful, and they prepared to launch another full attack against Kongming. When Shu scouts learned the news, they immediately reported back. After hearing it, Kongming did not grow angry, but laughed instead and said, "This is exactly what I hoped for. Let them all come together, so they can truly see what I can do." Then Kongming mounted his small carriage and once again led the army deep into the barbarian lands. From Deng Zhi's mission to Eastern Wu, to Wu Anshu forming an alliance again, and then to Cao Pi's failed personal campaign against Eastern Wu, the balance of the 3 divided powers under heaven shifted once again. After Liu Bei died, Shu Han seemed to be in the most dangerous position. The new ruler, Lu Xun, was young. At home, the state had just suffered the terrible defeat at Yiling. Outside, Cao Wei was watching closely, and Eastern Wu might not be truly reliable either. But Zhu Zhiling did not panic. On one side, he stabilized Eastern Wu and allowed Shu Han to regain an ally. On the other side, he forced back Cao Wei, making the north afraid to move rashly for the moment. But for Shu Han, simply holding Chengdu was far from enough. Because before the northern campaign against the Central Plains, Zhu Zhiling first had to solve a more realistic problem, the rebellion in the south. Yongkai, Zhubao, and Gaoding rose in rebellion one after another, and Meng Huo led 100,000 barbarian soldiers to invade the border. If the south was not pacified, Shu Han's rear would never be secure. Zhu Zhiliang understood very clearly that if he led troops north, while a fire could break out behind him at any time, then the so-called revival of the Han would be nothing more than empty words. So he decided to personally lead the southern campaign. Wang Lian advised him not to take the risk, and Lu Xun also worried that Wei and Wu might seize the chance to attack. But Zhu Zhiliang had already arranged every possible safeguard behind him. He knew that this battle was not only about suppressing rebellion, it was also about clearing the path for the future northern campaign. And so, the Shu army marched south. First, Zhu Zhiliang used a plan of sowing suspicion to pacify Yongkai, Zhubao, and Gaoding. Then he accepted Ma Su's advice that attacking the heart is best and began to truly face Meng Huo, the lord of the southern barbarians. From this point on, the war Zhu Zhiliang had to fight was no longer just an ordinary war. He had to face unfamiliar mountains and rivers, poisonous springs, and deadly miasma, barbarian soldiers who refused to accept the rule of the court, and Meng Huo's stubborn refusal to submit again and again. So why did Zhu Zhiliang insist on personally leading the southern campaign? Would Meng Huo, this king of the southern barbarians, truly be won over by Zhu Zhiliang? And those 4 words, attacking the heart is best, what kind of strange war would they become in the story of the southern campaign? We'll continue the story in the next episode.
If you enjoyed today's episode, feel free to give the show a like, subscribe, and share it with someone you think would enjoy it too. Thank you for spending this time with me. I will see you in the next episode.
Sky in light, Nua healed the broken heart. Fuxi traced the world's design. Every age leaves stories bright. Yaya dynasty shaped bronze. Shang dynasty cast dynasty forged the great walls, and dynasty opened Silk Road winds. 3 kingdoms dynasty turned war to tales. Jin dynasty led ink and mountains bloom. Sui dynasty carved the Grand Canal. Tang dynasty crowned the world with art. Song dynasty raised learning's flame. Yun dynasty swept the northern plains. Ming dynasty strengthened walls again. Qing dynasty closed an ancient age. Every age leaves stories bright. History and myth ignite in endless light. China's history moves in mystery through the night. Footsteps of this land enchant the world in light. Song Dynasty raise learning's flame. Your dynasty swept the northern plains. Ming Dynasty strengthened walls again. Qing Dynasty closed an ancient day.